Babe, I'm falling, looking for someone in the stars. I've just never seen it before.
My name is Sarah Phenom, and I grew up here in Rwanda.
You could be someone all my life. I've never known love.
And I got the opportunity to move to Belgium and then the UK. Yeah, it's always funny to hear how people recognize you from, different situations. In this case, being with Nigerian superstars and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a nice journey. Very much the beginning. So being from Rwanda and growing up here means that I grew up obviously on a lot of R&B and a lot of different influences. Because obviously you were watching TV and everything that was going on Trace TV, MTV, and all these different things. So, and then obviously like the things that your parents also play to you, or even just the national music. Being from Rwanda and being in those different places have influenced me. I always have a global output. I don't know how to say. I wouldn't say a global output, but I would say a global approach. So whenever people ask me what kind of music do you want to make, I say pop, because I have these different influences from all these different cultures, and I get inspired by it, by them, every single time I start making music. And the different people that I work with are all from the diaspora as well, whether that's to be Nigeria or and everywhere else in Europe. And I really love bringing cultures together, because I'm from so many different backgrounds. I can't only say that I'm from Rwanda at this point, because I've lived as long in Rwanda than I have lived in Belgium. So every single time I've been around different people from different places and I listen to their music, and if there's something that I've liked or felt connected to, I'm like a sponge. So I'll take it in, and therefore when I go in front of the mic or in the studio, it's a reflection, all of those different things. I actually made a plan before I left Belgium. I decided that I wanted to go to the UK, but I had no music, and I didn't want to be those kind of artists that just arrive and they're like, I'm a singer, and they're like, oh, what kind of song do you have? Do you have songs out? And I'm like, no. So I decided I had these demos that I had been working on with producers in Belgium, and it was super difficult to clear. So I decided to make them into a live version with a band, with some musicians that I had met, and we made a live adaptation of all of them, and I made music videos, and I contacted like this crazy museum, because I'm also very inspired by visual arts and architecture and whatever. And I found this museum in Ghent. I remember it's like a small city in Belgium, and they had this beautiful landscape by a designer that I love, and I asked them if I could use that for my background. So I creative directed the whole thing, recorded it, put it on YouTube. As soon as I did that, YouTube in the UK reached out through some friends and some people that saw it online. And then I had some friends that I had met in the UK months prior, and they just decided to come with me. I asked them if they could come with me and help me out. And those two people, Jade and Nee, their name were, they just opened the gates of the entertainment industry for me in London. And they just introduced me to everyone and to so many different producers. Jade was managing another producer called London that is huge in Nigeria. And we connected through then. And from there on, it was just here and there. They would try me out in different sessions, and I would meet so many different people. And I would just go up to them and be like, hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm great, I'm amazing, and this is my music. And that's kind of how it started. But I think my first distribution deal was with a distribution that was owned by Apple. I actually don't know. I feel like I do this quite often. I'll just go to the most random people and I'll be like, I think we should work. I think this would work. I think we should make magic. And they're like, but I can't remember. I think Rema was the most publicized. That was the most publicized, and that was the one that, had the most outcome in terms of social media and everything. But in general, I think I do that for everything. Even just moving to London with no idea of what I was gonna do, no resource really, because I didn't have a job. It was insane. So I think that one was one of the biggest ones. Calling my cousin and saying, "Hey, so I think I'm amazing and I think I can do great, and I want to build my musical career in London. Would you help me out?" She was like, "Yes, come." So I would say that's the biggest one, personally. I think so, yeah. No, okay, yeah. Also, one time I was with my distribution label and they were asking me what I was going to do that week. And they essentially introduced me to the CEO of Apple and the King of England. And I think that was really cool. And I had to explain what I do and what my vision is and where I'm from. And I had a nice little chit chat with the King of England about being from Rwanda. Being an artist is quite interesting, and I think we always highlight such good parts of it, but we forget to highlight, well, not highlight, but talk about the self-doubt that comes with it. You have so much second guessing because obviously you're the steerer of the whole ship. So you get to decide everything. And sometimes you trust in your vision and you're the most confident in it, but then sometimes there's also little doubts of like, okay, is this politically correct? Is this going to translate? Is this making sense? In my head, it makes sense, and I shouldn't care about the outside perspective, but I care a lot. That's been my thought process with Highest Bidder, because it's a song that means so much to me. And yes, throughout my trip here, I've been linking up with different artists as well, trying to see what kind of collaborations can, spark from the link up. But that's kind of what you can expect from me next. A single and hypothetically some collaborations, even with other people from East Africa. I think I have such a unique perspective compared to the rest of the world because I come from this country that, I mean, in Europe in general, I don't hear people speaking Rwanda very often. So I have this very unique perspective that I can bring onto like a worldwide platform. And yeah, just growing up around so many different influences and different languages. Essentially, most of the time I think about what would little Sarah growing up in Rwanda want to see from this song. What is she saying and how would she see herself expressing it? And so that's how I come up with the videos. Most of the time, obviously, I work with creative directors, but the base is always coming from me. So for example, 10%, we were talking about having different perspectives of a relationship. So you have my perspective and then you had his perspective. And my favorite color is blue. And I really want people to know that whenever they see something in my visuals, I would prefer not to have a music video than to have a music video that does not reflect what I'm either speaking about in the song or going through, or something that stems from my essence. That's something that I want people to retain. So yeah, like Tesla for me was just very much like, super self-confidence, showing up as the best version of yourself at all times. And Bisous was just having fun. I don't know if you saw the Bisous video, but it's just me and my friends in South Africa, house party. Like, these are all different facets of myself. And I always describe myself as a multidisciplinary, multifaceted human being, because I think we all are as women and as creatives. And so I think it's important to just tap into all these different versions of yourselves and express them. I feel an urge to do that all times. It always depends on what I'm being exposed to at the time. Obviously, the things that inspired me the most are traveling, seeing people, hearing their stories, how it would affect me. Not necessarily affect, but inspire me. Does it touch me in a certain way? Is there a story that I would want to tell from my own perspective? Traveling, colors, fashion, people's cultures, like even our culture. Whenever I listen to our drums, like that's something that I think it stems from that. I'm obsessed with drum patterns and drum sounds. I think it comes from the fact that we, as Rwandan people in Rwandan music, have extremely complex drum patterns and drum sounds. And I'm obsessed with that, so that inspires me a lot. What else inspires me? dance, contemporary dance. Seeing body movement inspires me a lot. Yeah, that's mostly it. Art inspires me a lot. I think there should be more music. There should be more investment within the creative industry, because the problem is you want to do these things, but it costs money, and most of the time they don't necessarily want to pay artists or even pay them in a correct way, you know? And it's really hard. I've spoken to a few artists over here actually, and they've told me how, sometimes they cannot make ends meet. And I think that's something that I would really love to, I mean, if I end up in being a part of certain conversations, finding a way for them, for artists, for an artist economy, for an entertainment economy, because I feel like there's a lot of investment being put in, sports and events and things like that. But I think artists over here actually have the numbers, so it wouldn't really be hard to actually make it make sense. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly with my words, but I've seen that a lot where, sometimes they just don't want to pay artists. But I wouldn't even necessarily do it for the pay. It's more so for the platform. But if I would, the way I want to show up for people to discover me, I definitely want to have, I would love to have dancers with me. For example, the kids that did a video on my song the other day, I would really love to bring them out. But again, I think it's important to be able to, give them a little something as well. So these are the kind of things that I think about in the background. I think being from here, I often think about watching TV and being a little girl, and obviously it was after the genocide and everything. And I would sing in my house and watching TV and just thinking, I can be that person. And I know it and I feel it in my bones and in my whole entire being, but I have no idea how I can make it happen. That's the point where I create from at all times. And then I talk about the small, the way I've been feeling, obviously, like in my love life, etc. But I know that as I grow in my musical career, because I don't really have a lot of songs out, I know I'm going to be able to dig deeper and talk about more experiences that I've felt growing up, or just as a girl that's in the middle of, in the middle of London trying to make it, essentially.